Do you have something that you truly, relentlessly desire? Despite the state of life, is there something else that you would go completely to the end of the world to get? Well, luckily for you, there's a way to achieve what you're looking for, and you won't need to go to the end of the world to get it. But you need to go somewhere, and that place may be too out of reach for some. It's not that far away. It's actually closer than one may believe. There's some requirements that individuals may not possess. First, wherever it is, you must seriously desire what you want. In your eyes, it should be something you need. If you begin the journey without the correct state of mind, you'll surely fail, as it will be near impossible to turn back once the journey starts. The second requirement is that you need a vehicle of some sort. Most use a car as it gives a false feeling of protection, which may be what gets you through the ride. There has been a select few, though, that have used a small motorized vehicle, such as an ATV or a motorcycle. But this has been proven quite difficult, as the conditions of the journey can prove to be too bothersome, even during their early stages. Do not use a vehicle too large or noticeable, as you'll need some of the cover of the night to be most safe. Also, while any sort of car will do, you may not want to choose the most expensive or cherished vehicle. You can take your slick new black Mercedes for a drive if you'd like, but don't expect it to come out. The first task to accomplish is to locate the road. It doesn't have a name, and it's not on the map, and technically doesn't even exist. It will only show up if you're looking for it at the right time, and you will only spot it if you know what to look for. Finally, you must be alone during the journey. You didn't think you'll be able to go in a group, did you? It must be night when you begin. Choose a time of the night where you believe the roads are least populated. Drive to any area that is just a stretch of road surrounded by the woods. Here is where you want to start paying close attention. If you're looking for the road, it will turn up eventually, but you need to search for the road's hints in order to pull down the right one. Once you're close, you will see or feel the signs, but what the signs will be dependent on what you desire. For example, if you're in search for wealth, you may spot shimmers in the empty branches of the trees, as they resemble the shine of gold or diamonds. If you seek love, you will begin to see rose petals slowly dance in the light breeze, blowing in the road's directions. If you seek revenge, you might sense an ever-growing feeling of heat or anger in your body as you approach. Just know what it is you really want. You will have no problem finding it. Once you're sure you found the revealed road, take a deep breath and turn down onto it. At this point, you officially started down the nameless road, which brings you through 11 miles, leading to whatever it is you seek. Each mile will test your desire and will expose if you really want what you're searching for. Before you go any further, stop the car and be wary of a few things. First, do not turn on the radio during the drive. Second, Do not use the phone during the drive. Third, do not open the window during the drive, and make sure they're all closed before you continue. And if you're riding a vehicle without a window or top, then be prepared for the worst, as the odds are heavily against you. Fourth, do not open or leave your vehicle at any time. Fifth, you will never want to exceed 30 miles per hour unless you're desperate to make it through a section of the road. And finally, and most importantly, as with any ride, buckle up. Feel free to prepare and make sure you're ready. Once the road has been entered, time has stopped for you, and you don't need to worry about losing the night. Though you may not notice it, you're not actually in your own world anymore. Take one last moment to realize that once the first mile is over, there is no turning back. If you ponder turning back at all, know that you shouldn't even be on the journey in the first place. Once all is done, start to continue on the road. On the first mile, you won't see much change. The road passes through mostly woods, with a few miles being an exception. The air will turn a bit colder, in which you should turn on your heating system if your vehicle has one. You won't want to take your eyes off the road later. Take some time to calm any uneasiness by admiring the night sky. You'll see it completely lined with stars, more than what you would ever believe possible. If the weather was cloudy beforehand, you'll also notice that the sky is now clear. On the second mile, the air will become even colder. This is the primary reason why traveling in an open vehicle is very difficult. With each mile, the air will drop colder in temperature, even if the season should be warm. If the air is too cold to bear, even with the heat on, your only option is to speed up. With each mile on the road, it will become more complex, taking more turns, and showing increasing amounts of road hazards. Be sure to always keep focus on the road in front of you in order to avoid as many bumps and obstacles as possible. Hitting a few rocks and potholes won't hamper your progress too much, but you will want to keep the car in the best condition for as long as you can. If your vehicle is forced to stop because of damage, there's nothing left for you to do but to eventually freeze to death. On the third mile, you will begin to spot silhouettes of human figures in the linings of the trees. Pay no attention to them, even if they seem to get closer. It will be hard to resist peeking at their unnerving, distant appearances, but know that they will reveal themselves later. At this point, the road will become dirt if you weren't driving on it before. Keep in mind that you should be in the center of the path, as it will become narrow and wide at random intervals. On a quick side note, you should never attempt to turn around, despite the previous warnings. You'll be left on a path which never ends. You will simply run out of fuel and eventually be left to freeze due to the cold, harsh conditions. On the fourth mile, you will not only see more of the figures, but you will begin to sense On the fourth mile, you will not only see more figures, but you will begin, in a sense, to hear them. In the back of your mind, a very faint, unintelligible whisper will echo. These will come and go, but you can't stop them. They become bothersome or distracting. Try to tune them out by thinking about what you desire. Attempting to listen to them and determine what the voices are saying will only attract them to you, and you only want to be as far away as you can. They'll be closer later, so there's no point of bringing them near you this early. On the 5th mile, you will come to a clearing. The lining of the trees on your left will disappear to reveal a lake with no end, and with a beaming, great moon over the water. The illumination from the moon will become so spectacular that the vehicle's headlights will no longer be required. Restrain yourself from gazing at it. If you look at the light for even more than a few seconds, the road in front of you will end, throwing your vehicle into the water, in which you will freeze in mere minutes. The voices will be gone for this mile, but don't rejoice yet. They will be back. On the 6th mile, take into account that you're more than halfway done. Despite this progress, you may lose hope here. The stars will have disappeared at this point, leaving the sky empty, black abyss. The clearing will have ended, leading you back into the woods. The only light you will have will be provided by your headlights, but you will flicker from time to time even if you are sure that they're in perfect working order. If you have a radio in the car, it will be turned on. On the 6th mile, take into account that you're more than halfway done. Despite the progress, you may lose hope here. The stars will have disappeared at this point, leaving the sky an empty black abyss. The clearing will have ended, leading you back into the woods. The only light you will have will be provided by the vehicle's headlights, but they'll be flickering from time to time, even if you're sure they're perfect working order. If you have a radio in the vehicle, it will turn on automatically. If you didn't turn it off beforehand, it will produce an overwhelming screech that will send you off the path. A calm voice will then begin to speak about your greatest fears. What is your greatest horrors in your life? It will speak in a way that will cause you to visualize its words in your mind. So do not listen to it. If you begin to comprehend what it's saying, the horrors will prove too much for you to stay on the road safely. Attempting to turn off the radio will prove no use. Speed up if you need to. Just keep your mind off the voice as much as you can. As you push the end of the mile, the voice will fade out of the speakers and leaving your ears at peace. On the 7th mile, the voice from the figures will return. It won't sound like a whisper this time, but more like a distant scream, growing closer with each second. At some point on this mile, hear one of them in your ear, as if one of them were right behind you. This is because one of the figures have found their way into your vehicle. Do not turn around. Their face will shock you into paralysis, leading you off the road. If you don't draw attention to it, you will become uninterested and hopefully leave. These beings are said to be the ones who have traveled down the road before, but were not successful. They live the remainder of their existence suffering in darkness, with their only goal being to bring other travelers down with them. It has been said from experience that these beings can't physically harm you, so as long as they don't cause you to wreck, you should be fine. On the 8th mile, slow down if you're going too fast. The road here takes very sharp turns, which, if overshot, will lead you to a pit through the trees. The cold here is near fatal. If you were to have a glass of a liquid in your vehicle, it would turn solid within seconds. The heating system will have become completely obsolete. Your headlights will flicker more, sometimes shutting off for a few seconds. You should also brake if this happens, but do not completely stop. The figures will be following you at this point, and should you stop for too long, they will surround and trap your vehicle. More of their screams can be heard from the outside of your doors, sometimes even sounding of a maniacal laughter. Their hands will claw at your window, desperate to reach in and feel something living. Do not look at them. They won't block your windshield, and the last thing you want to happen is crash, be trapped with them. If you don't make it from here, pray that the freezing ends you. On the 9th mile, your vehicle will stall. The headlights will shut off, as with all other systems inside. There's nothing you can do to prevent this. What you will need to do is close your eyes and immediately attempt to restart the vehicle. Keep your eyes closed, as the figures will have surely surrounded you at this point. The starting of the vehicle will frighten them, and they will all back off temporarily. This will give you a chance to start moving forward again. If you begin to hear the window crack from your struggles, don't lose focus. Their beings can alter the vehicle, but remember, they still do not have the strength to physically affect you. You will hear nothing but their voices rampaging in your mind, as there could be anywhere between a dozen to 100 after you now. Once you start the vehicle, floor it. Floor it so long as you can stay on the path. Once the mile is done, the beings will retreat. On the 10th mile, the voice of the beings will stop. If you were to look in the rear view mirror, but don't actually do this, you'll see them following you, but not as they're chasing. They will be watching you as if they were seeing you off. As you go down the 10th mile, the road will be smoother as if you're back on the first mile. The figures will be lining the sides of the path ahead of you. They won't be after you, but they'll watch you as you pass. Some have theorized that the beings are impressed here that you have come a long way on the journey to what you desire. This is false. They are not impressed, but they are happy. They're happy you are about to approach the next mile. They are happy because you're most likely going to take your death. On the 11th and final mile, everything in your vehicle will lose power as it did on the 9th mile. The vehicle will normally be immobile, but she will still be moving. An unknown force will be pulling you forward. In the darkness, you will see a growing red light up ahead, as if it were a light at the end of a tunnel. Close your eyes and cover them. Do whatever it takes to make sure you do not see what you're about to go through. Covering your ears would also be helpful, but keeping your eyes covered should be a higher priority. The red light is another clearing, but there is no moon or lake this time. Once it enters, an unrelenting, inconceivable noise will sound from all directions. No amount of bravery and conditioning will spare you from these sounds. The cold will turn to a merciless heat, burning all parts of the vehicle. You will feel an illusion of flesh being burned off your bones. That every part of you is being destroyed as you travel through the screams and audible suffering. As long as you keep your eyes closed and resist the urge to see where you are, you will survive through the suffering. This will last for a total of 30 seconds, but many fail to keep their vision closed during that time and are left to the worst fate of the road. Where is this mile located? Those who have survived do not know. Some have named it the transmission from hell, but whether it's part of hell is debatable. After the final mile, power will return to your car. Stop the vehicle. Take a moment to possibly regain some of your sanity. If the screaming in your ears begin to fade, know that you are nearly completed your journey with the hardest task overcome. Breathe, and begin to drive forward once again. After a kilometer, your vehicle will arrive at a dead end. Stop here and don't attempt to move again. Nothing will happen right this second, but you won't be disappointed. Relax and close your eyes. Imagine in your mind what it is you desire the most in this entire time. It will most likely still be the same when you entered, but with this desire might actually change with the making of the journey. Think about what it is you really went through such terrifying and difficult means to acquire, and imagine processing it in your hands. Once you've completely visualized this, slowly open your eyes. You will then find yourself at the beginning of the unnamed road, where you first began. This may confuse you, but know that you are finished. Your task is done. Your mind will then return to your reward. If what you desire was material, check the back seat or in the trunk if the object was larger. If the object was small enough, it might already be in your pocket. If what you desire was non-material, then do not be disappointed if the change is not immediate. Turn back to where you came from, and you'll find in your life that what you wanted is there. You may have found your love of your dreams. You have gained unnatural, unimaginable power. You might have put the most hated enemy to the most satisfying revenge possible. You will have no doubt gained what you have deserved. So now that the task is done, what's the catch? Is your vehicle cursed? There's something you're about to lose. Is your death imminent? The answer to all of this is no, of course. You've done the challenge. You proved worthy to what you desire. As stated before, the sounds of the 11th mile will continue to exist in your mind, potentially causing some vivid and unusual nightmares, but these should prove nothing compared to what you've gained. Now, one last question. If there's something else you desire, are you not yet satisfied? After all, you're right back where you started. The road's right in front of you. So are you up for another drive? If so, buckle up and just move forward.